Fighting a forest fire takes some doing. It means equipment. Pumps, Pulaskis, dozers, copters. But equipment alone won't put out a fire like this. It takes man. Man and his ability to make the right decision at the right time. His ability to manage other men. I'm Len Kraut, a sector boss in Division 2. First, I've got a lot of listening to do. Briefings are more than just cut and dry details. We've got to clearly understand the strategy plan for controlling the fire and the tactics we'll use on the division.
We want to see if we can develop any more copter sites in the division. I'll expect you to keep going all the time as soon as you get a little line built ahead and then keep burning up. I'll get your crew bosses to keep pushing their crews, particularly your mill crew, Chuck, because they're quite a bit less experienced than the loggers, and they need closer supervision.
If we could get them all to go like these inter-region crews, that's what we're after.
These crews will produce, but they must have good direction, and that's our responsibility. Keep this direction flowing, so they'll know what's to be done and what we want done. From division briefing to sector briefing, I pass along the plan to my 3 crew bosses, Brody, Jacobs, and Kramer. Be on the lookout for good helispot locations. The sooner we get them built, the better.
Are we going to have any water source down below so we can use that on our hand line and fill those backpack bags?
You bet, Don. There's a good chance for water. And that's another thing. This morning, be sure your crews take backpack bags along with the tools.
Yeah, well, we'll need it in that burnout on that lower part because it could spot on us there more so than up above.
Division boss has asked for all burnout to be completed by 1200. My crew bosses are top-notch men. We've worked together before. We cover the plans of the day and how our sector will fit into the overall strategy. I fellas better figure on double tooling. Make up your own saw teams from your own crews. Take fusees along. Be sure and check in with me before any major burnout so we can clear it with the division boss. One other thing. I want you to take responsible members of your crew and assign them to search outside the fire line for spotting. Now, on the upper sector, above the bluff, we're going to have a dozer in there. Fred, this is going to be your area. The terrain and fuel types vary, so each of my crew faces a different problem. At 0500, we leave camp. Destination, Rough Ridge. Crew safety is a must. Jacob's men know how to handle tools. As his men go into the fire line, they keep an eye out for fallen snags, rolling rocks, and keep a safe distance. As for me, I've got plenty on my mind. Build the shortest line. Check on escape routes. Locate, build helispots. And what about our deadline? Can we complete the burnout by noon? And always the nagging question every sector boss has. What have I missed? When you keep your overhead notebook handy, you can check yourself out. When in doubt, check it out. Jacobs and his crew are moving right along. Good hand line, just wide enough and down to mineral soil. A little creek, not on the map. Pays to scout around. There's enough water here to put in a pump. And we need all the help we can get. You know, before you really know your sector, it sure takes a lot of hiking. And a lot more to stay on top.
This is Carl.
Say, I've located a small intermittent creek about half mile west of the ranch. We can use a 1-inch pump in there pretty nicely. I'd like to have one delivered to the H2 helispot in our sector. Crowd over.
10-4, Lynn. I'll get it ordered for you, over.
On top of the bluff, Brody points out a good site for another helispot. Well clear of trees, good visibility, safe approach and takeoff paths. It'll take equipment to build this helispot. and alert sector boss, make sure the order goes through right away. When you have steep terrain, you need cup trenches to catch rolling embers. Pumps here. This means water to hold the line. And later on, water for mop-up. Whenever they approach a helicopter, our men know they must strap on their hats, or else clamp them close to their body. In fact, helicopter safety is a subject in itself. You don't always need fusees and drip torches. Sometimes you improvise. In fact, whenever you don't have just the tool you'd like, use some ingenuity. Make do with what you have. Fire's still boiling, but burnout by noon remains the key factor. Now, where do we stand with burnout? Along the road? Done. Along the tractor line? Nearly done. Along the hand line, we're ready, as soon as the pump show is ready. Okay, sump's going in. Once again, the men take advantage of every opportunity and improvise. The snag's got to come down. You know, when you get right down to it, a sector boss has got to have eyes in the back of his head. Line scout comes through with new intelligence. From a helicopter, he's seen that our division is getting the line tied together, but there's some spotting over the line. Just up ahead on my sector. Looks like I've got the critical sector. If spot fires get out of hand, it's a call for outside help.
Cowles, this is Kraut.
This is Cole.
Floyd, we've got some pretty serious spotting here about, well, it's over the line, uphill from the draw. We're going to need a retardant drop about 200 yards below the helispot. I'm moving a crew out now, Floyd, over.
10-4, I can see the smoke down there, and I'll call you on the ETA for the plane when I find out, over.
10-4, crowd clear.
Call's clear.
Clear out, men.
The men are told to clear the immediate target area, just in case a treetop or limb breaks loose. What's more, retardant dispersal is unpredictable, and the sheer density of the material is a man-killer. We don't want any casualties. Meanwhile, I tie in with the adjoining sector to find out how Donovan's line is coming along. He's got the same problem with brush and snags, but looks like we'll connect up on schedule. Tractor show, finishing up. Water bars, in. Burnout line, complete. Our sector's through with the cats. They're going over to Donovan in Sector D. Equipment costs money. We keep it working. Finish a job in one sector, it gets a new assignment.
Trouble holding this dozer line.
Manpower can be deployed the same way. But first clear it with a division boss.
Donovan clear.
More footwork. The sector boss makes sure mop-up begins on each position of the line as soon as possible. And he's got to keep checking with all his crew bosses. I checked back with Brody. Okay so far, but keeping the pickup crew humping now, that's a headache. Your men are just gardening with their water, I tell Kramer. You know how to do it. Why don't you show them? And Kramer has a knack of showing a man how to dig in. point of mop-up is to do it thoroughly and do it right the first time. The crew can't keg up or slow down. The message to Brody about marking spot fires, meeting night shift relief, and transportation back to camp. And there's at least 12.5 things for me to work out with my relief. Map revisions, problem areas, site for a spike camp, surplus equipment, and getting all this info to the division boss. A day like this has 48 hours. What's the secret of running a good sector? There is no secret. Follow the book. Use your eyes. Use your head. Keep at your men. Inspire their confidence. Walk your legs off, and don't run out of steam. Develop sense number 6. Then you've got it made. And, make sure you put the fire out. Make doubly sure.